Hey Stoic warriors, welcome back to my channel. Somewhere between your first breath and this exact second, you signed an invisible contract with mediocrity. Nobody saw you sign it. Hell, you didn't even realize you were holding the pen. But every time you swallowed your words to keep the peace, every time you dimmed your fire to make others comfortable, every time you chose safe over alive, you added another signature to your own imprisonment. The ancient Stoics knew something we've forgotten while drowning in our ocean of self-help garbage and motivational masturbation. They understood that becoming unstoppable isn't about adding armor. It's about discovering you were born with lightning in your veins and thunder in your voice, then spending your entire life pretending you're just another raindrop. Marcus Aurelius commanded the known world, while his own mind waged war against itself. He wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when you feel motivated. Now, because eternity doesn't give a damn about your excuses, and neither should you. You want to know why you feel like you're suffocating in your own existence? Because you've been taught that strength means enduring quietly, that wisdom means accepting peacefully, that maturity means dying politely. But the Stoics, the real ones who faced execution, exile, and empire, they knew that true power comes from controlled explosion, not controlled extinction. Today, you're going to learn 5 secrets that will transform you from someone who watches life happen to someone who happens to life. These aren't comfortable truths wrapped in inspirational ribbons. These are psychological weapons that will fundamentally alter your DNA of decision-making. You'll understand why your biggest enemy isn't failure or fear. It's the comfort zone you've decorated to look like success. Some people will say you've changed after absorbing these secrets. They're right. You'll become allergic to your own excuses. You'll develop an addiction to discomfort that makes ordinary people nervous. You'll start moving through life like you're made of liquid mercury. Impossible to pin down, impossible to break, impossible to stop. But here's the price. You'll never be able to go back to sleep. Once you see the prison bars everyone else calls life, you can't unsee them. Once you taste what it means to be truly alive, not just breathing but burning, everything else will taste like ash. So before we light this fuse, I need to know you're ready to burn. Slam that like button like you're breaking the emergency glass on your life. Subscribe, because this channel is where we forge humans into forces of nature. Share this with someone who's sick of being sick of being sick. And don't you dare skip a single second. Each secret is a piece of the blueprint to your transformation. Now let's begin. Number 1. Poisoning yourself to become immortal. Kings used to consume small amounts of poison daily to become immune to assassination. The Stoics did something more radical. They poisoned themselves with their worst fears to become immune to life itself. They called it premeditatio malorum, but I call it the most insane yet brilliant psychological hack ever discovered. Every morning, while everyone else visualizes success, you're going to visualize catastrophe, not to manifest it, but to murder its power over you. Seneca, who was richer than most emperors, regularly spent nights sleeping on the floor, eating nothing but bread and water. Not because he was crazy, but because he was building immunity to the fear of losing everything. Listen to his words that should haunt you. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of disaster. The fact that it was unforeseen has never failed to intensify a person's grief. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. You've been taught to run from negative thoughts like they're contagious. But what if I told you that your fear of the worst-case scenario is exactly what's keeping you weak? When you never mentally rehearse disaster, you remain psychologically virgin to reality's violence. Then, when life inevitably punches you in the throat, you crumble because you never trained for impact. The protocol works like this. Tomorrow morning, spend 5 minutes dying. Lose everything in your mind. Watch your career implode. See your relationships dissolve. Feel your health deteriorate. Don't run from these thoughts. Marinate in them until they lose their sting. Because here's the paradox that will rewire your brain. When you've already died 1,000 deaths in your mind, physical reality can never kill you. I discovered this accidentally when my worst nightmare materialized. The business failed, the relationship ended, the diagnosis came back positive, all within 3 months. But instead of shattering, I felt this eerie calm. I'd already lived this moment 100 times in my mind. Reality was just a rerun of a show I'd already watched. While everyone around me panicked about my tragedy, I was already rebuilding because I'd pre-grieved my losses. This isn't pessimism, it's psychological artillery. When you've mentally rehearsed losing everything, you stop making decisions from fear. You stop clinging to security like it's oxygen. You start taking the kinds of risks that make ordinary people nauseous because you've already survived the worst-case scenario in your mind. The modern world wants you fragile, terrified of loss, addicted to comfort. It needs you scared to keep you controllable. But when you've poisoned yourself with your own fears until you're immune, you become ungovernable. You become the person who smiles during hurricanes, who builds during collapses, who advances while others retreat. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to do something terrifying. Write down your worst fear, then spend 10 minutes living it mentally. Feel every detail. Then wake up tomorrow and realize you're still breathing. Do this daily until fear becomes boring. Number 2, turning fury into fuel. Everyone's teaching you to find inner peace. Meditate your anger away. Breathe through your rage like it's something shameful. They're castrating your power source. The Stoics understood something modern spirituality desperately wants to hide. Anger isn't your enemy. It's rocket fuel waiting for a pilot who knows how to fly. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations because he was naturally calm. He wrote them because he was volcanic, struggling to transmute his rage at human stupidity into imperial wisdom. He discovered what I'm about to teach you. Anger is just passion that hasn't found its purpose yet. He carved these words while probably wanting to strangle someone. How much trouble he avoids, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. Translation: your rage at others is wasted gasoline. Pour it into your own engine instead. Society has programmed you to feel guilty about anger, to apologize for your intensity, to water down your fire until it's barely a candle. Meanwhile, every empire was built on controlled fury. Every revolution started with someone too angry to stay silent. Every breakthrough came from someone who converted their rage into relentless action. The secret isn't killing your anger. It's distilling it into something so pure it becomes unrecognizable. When someone betrays you, that burning in your gut isn't telling you to destroy them. It's telling you to become so successful that their betrayal becomes the best thing that ever happened to you. When life breaks your bones, that fury isn't meant for revenge. It's meant to fuse those bones back stronger than steel. I learned this when betrayal came from someone I'd have died for. The rage was nuclear. It could have destroyed everything I touched. Instead, I did something insane. I wrote their name on my gym wall. Every rep, Every set, every drop of sweat was powered by that fury. 6 months later, I was unrecognizable. Not because I forgave, because I transformed poison into power. The alchemy process is brutal but simple. When rage floods your system, you have exactly 90 seconds before it either owns you or serves you. In those 90 seconds, ask yourself, how can I use this fire to forge myself into something they'll never see coming? Then move, immediately. Channel that volcanic energy into creation before it becomes destruction. Start treating your anger like uranium, dangerous if leaked, powerful if contained and directed. Build something with your rage. Create art from your fury. Turn your bitterness into business, your resentment into results, your hatred into hunger for something greater than revenge, evolution. The world wants you calm because calm people don't change anything. They want you peaceful because peaceful people don't challenge power structures. But when you learn to alchemize rage into purpose, you become the most dangerous person in any room. Someone who transforms poison into power, pain into progress, fury into fortune. Number 3. Why loneliness is your superpower. They sold you a lie that you need a tribe, a squad, a support system to become unstoppable. They're terrified you'll discover what happens when you stop drowning in other people's noise and finally hear your own frequency. The Stoics knew that voluntary isolation isn't loneliness. It's the laboratory where gods are made. Seneca deliberately exiled himself from Rome's social circus to find himself in silence. He wrote, "All cruelty springs from weakness." But here's what he really meant. Your cruelty to yourself, your self-sabotage, your accepting less than you deserve. It all comes from the weakness of needing external validation like a drug. Everyone's addicted to connection, but nobody talks about how other people's energy is often pollution. You absorb their limitations through proximity. Their fears become your caution. Their small thinking shrinks your big dreams. You're literally downloading their mediocrity through emotional Wi-Fi, then wondering why you feel so ordinary. The paradox that will shatter your programming. The more comfortable you become with isolation, the more powerful you become in connection. When you don't need anyone, everyone needs you. When you're not desperate for approval, approval chases you. When you can sit alone in a room without entertainment, without distraction, without validation, you become entertainment, distraction, and validation. I disappeared for 6 months. No social media, minimal contact, just me and my demons in a boxing ring. People thought I was depressed. I was decomposing, breaking down everything I thought I was to discover what remained. In that silence, I heard things that the noise had been hiding. I discovered that my personality was just a performance. My beliefs were just borrowed opinions. My dreams were just socially acceptable compromises. Isolation isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about becoming sovereign. It's about learning to generate your own electricity instead of being a parasite on other people's energy. It's about discovering that the voice you're most afraid to hear, your own, is the only one that actually matters. Start with this. 1 hour daily, completely alone. No phone, no music, no books. Just you and the terrifying silence. Watch what happens. Your mind will scream for stimulation. Your anxiety will spike. You'll feel like you're dying. Good. That's your addiction to distraction detoxing. That's your authentic self fighting to surface through layers of social conditioning. In isolation, you'll discover something horrifying. Most of your thoughts aren't yours. They're transplants from parents, teachers, society, media. But when you sit in silence long enough, your real thoughts emerge like ancient artifacts from an excavation. These thoughts will scare you because they don't fit who you're supposed to be. They fit who you actually are. The modern world fears isolated individuals because they can't be controlled through social pressure. When you don't need the herd's approval, you become immune to the herd's control. When you've made friends with solitude, you become impossible to punish through exclusion. When you've learned to validate yourself, external validation becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Declare your independence in the comments. I am my own universe. Number 4. Why pain pays interest. Your generation was raised to avoid suffering like it's cancer, but suffering is the only currency that purchases greatness. The Stoics didn't just endure suffering, they invested it, earning compound interest on every scar. They understood what soft times have made you forget. Comfort is debt, pain is profit. Epictetus, who had his leg deliberately broken by his master, later taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But here's the part that should disturb your comfort. He wasn't teaching acceptance, he was teaching exploitation. Every moment of suffering is a transaction. You either pay with your spirit or you get paid in strength. The mathematics of suffering is ruthless but reliable. Physical pain builds physical power, that's obvious. But emotional pain, that builds emotional intelligence. Mental pain, that builds mental fortitude. Spiritual pain, that builds spiritual depth. Every category of suffering is a specialized gym membership for a different dimension of your development. Modern culture medicates suffering, numbs it, avoids it, therapizes it into submission. But what if suffering isn't a bug in the human operating system? What if it's the feature? What if every moment of agony is life's way of offering you an upgrade, but you keep declining the installation because it hurts? I discovered this during 18 months of hell that should have killed me. Loss after loss, failure after failure, betrayal after betrayal. But something strange happened. Around month 12, I stopped breaking. Not because the hits stopped coming, but because I developed immunity. The suffering that would have destroyed the old me became fuel for whatever I was becoming. Here's the protocol nobody will teach you. When suffering arrives, don't minimize it, maximize it. If you're going to hurt anyway, extract every drop of value from that pain. Lost your job? Good. Use that suffering to build a business. Lost your relationship? Perfect. Use that suffering to rebuild yourself. Lost your health? Excellent. Use that suffering to discover what really matters. The suffering dividend works on a simple principle. Pain avoided today becomes weakness tomorrow, but pain invested today becomes power tomorrow. Every time you choose the harder path, you're making a deposit. Every time you choose comfort, you're making a withdrawal. Most people are overdrawn on their suffering account, which is why life's smallest inconvenience sends them into bankruptcy. Start collecting suffering like it's cryptocurrency. That workout that makes you want to vomit? That's a deposit. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding? That's a deposit. That project that terrifies you? That's a massive deposit. Your suffering portfolio is the only investment that never loses value. The world will call you masochistic. Let them. While they're avoiding every splinter, you're building immunity to impalement. While they're medicating every discomfort, you're weaponizing distress. While they're pursuing happiness, you're purchasing power with pain. Tonight, do something that hurts productively. Tomorrow, do something harder. Keep compounding until suffering becomes your second language, until pain becomes your professor, until hardship becomes your habitat. Number 5. Living like you're already gone. Everyone's so desperate to live longer that they forgot to live deeper. The Stoics had a practice so intense that modern philosophers won't even teach it. They rehearse their death daily, not to become morbid, but to become electric with aliveness. Memento mori, they whispered. Remember you must die. But here's the twist that changes everything. Remembering death is the only way to remember you're alive. Marcus Aurelius, while plague killed thousands around him, wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." He knew something that terrifies modern society, that treating yourself as already dead is the ultimate life hack. When you're already dead, you can't die. When you've lost everything, you can't lose. When you're already gone, you're finally free. The death practice isn't about becoming depressed or nihilistic. It's about burning away everything unnecessary until only the essential remains. When you subtract infinite tomorrows from your equation, today becomes nuclear. When you stop assuming you'll have another chance, this chance becomes sacred. When you realize you're temporary, you stop wasting time on permanent solutions to temporary problems. Every morning, look in the mirror and see a ghost. You're already dead. You just have a few more moments to haunt this world beautifully. This isn't morbid, it's liberation. Dead people don't care about their reputation. Dead people don't fear rejection. Dead people don't postpone their dreams. Dead people don't pretend to be someone else. Dead people are free to be exactly what they are, which is exactly what you've been afraid to be. I started practicing death after a diagnosis that promised me less time than planned. But instead of fear, I felt this violent clarity. Every conversation became potentially final, so I stopped having surface-level interactions. Every sunset might be my last, so I stopped scrolling through them. Every "I love you" might be terminal, so I stopped withholding them. The practice is simple but savage. Each night before sleep, review your day as if you died at midnight. What would you regret not saying, not doing, not becoming? Then wake up tomorrow like you've been given a 24-hour reprieve from execution, because you have. We all have. We're all on death row. Most people just pretend the guards aren't coming. When you genuinely accept you're going to die, not intellectually, but cellularly, something shifts. You stop negotiating with your dreams. You stop apologizing for your intensity. You stop dimming your light to make dying people comfortable. You become urgent without panic, focused without fear, intense without anxiety. Death isn't the opposite of life. It's the spotlight that makes life visible. Without death, life is just an endless grey corridor. With death, life becomes a lightning strike, brief, brilliant, unforgettable. The Stoics knew that remembering death doesn't make you morbid. Forgetting death makes you a zombie. Comment your awakening. I am already dead, so I am finally free. You've just swallowed 5 pills that most people would spit out. The venom protocol that makes you immune to fear. The rage alchemy that transforms fury into fuel. The isolation paradox that makes loneliness your laboratory. The suffering dividend that pays you in power. The death practice that makes you allergic to a life half-lived. These aren't just concepts. They're explosives planted in the foundation of your comfort zone. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you'll feel them detonating. You'll feel uncomfortable in your old skin. You'll feel claustrophobic in your old thoughts. Good. That discomfort is your metamorphosis beginning. The Stoics didn't promise you happiness. They promised you something better. Anti-fragility. The ability to get stronger from what tries to break you, the capacity to find opportunity in chaos, the power to transform poison into medicine, prison into freedom, death into life. Some people will say, you've become too intense, too extreme, too much. Perfect. That means you're becoming too powerful for their comfort zone to contain. You're graduating from their frequency. You're evolving beyond their gravity. If this awakens something sleeping in your bones, prove it. Hit that like button like you're signing your Declaration of Independence. Subscribe, because this channel is where we perform surgery on souls. Share this with someone who's ready to stop existing and start living. Comment below with your chosen affirmation. Let the world know you're done being tame. Final declaration for the comments. I am the storm I've been waiting for. Remember, you're not becoming unstoppable. You're remembering you always were.